Hey, welcome back everybody. We are so glad to see you working on those sign numbers a little bit more here in Module 8. And we're getting into a little bit more complex problems here. We got a problem like this where we're combining these sign numbers. Well, remember first, when you see these parentheses here and these double signs, we want to eliminate those double signs before we try to do anything else. We don't want to play around with the double signs or the parentheses. We want to get those babies on out of there. Now remember this. Double signs here with the parenthesis that are opposite one another become a minus. So let's go with that. Let's bring down that 5 now and drop that parenthesis. This double sign right here, this double signs are the same. They're both, it's a minus followed by a minus. That can become a plus. Drop the parenthesis, bring down to 7. Bring down to 7. Okay, so by eliminating the parentheses first, we have a much cleaner problem to work with. Now we want to think about this problem, and I don't really want to read this problem negative 8 minus 5 plus 7. I don't really want to read it that way. What I want to think of is I've got 8 negatives and 5 more negatives. 8 negatives and 5 more negatives. Well, altogether, that's going to give me 13 negatives. 13 negatives. Now, I've got 13 negatives and 7 positives. Well, 13 negatives, I got more negatives than I do positives. In fact, what I've got right here, honestly, is I've got 6 more negatives. Okay, so 6 more negatives than I do positives, and that's my answer right there. Okay, I want you guys to take a run at the one here on this side. If you would, pause the video if you need, take a run at that. Then we'll work it together here in just a second. Hey, wonderful to have you back. We are going to take a look at that problem together. You know the first thing you want to do is get rid of those double signs. All right, so let's do it. And the parentheses too, by the way. So here, this becomes a plus. Minus, minus together. You know, you've heard that old thing, 2 negatives make a positive. Well, that's not always true, and you got to be careful with that. But in this case, where you've got this parenthesis and minus, minus, 2 negatives right here together, it does give us a positive right here. We'll bring down that 6, bring down that negative 5. Now we can drop that parenthesis right on off of there, all right? And now this plus minus right here. This is a double sign with a parenthesis behind it. This right here, because they're opposite signs, actually becomes a negative. We got a negative 3. And now again here, we've got another parenthesis with a double sign. Minus minus becomes plus, bring down the 8. Okay, so now we've got this string of numbers. We've got a negative 5 and a positive 6 and a negative 3 and a positive 8. Well, watch this. This is a pretty cool little table we can do. Suppose we take our positive numbers and put them on one side of the table. We take our negative numbers and put them on the other side. On the positive side, we have 6 and we have 8. On the negative side, we have 5 and we have 3. So if we put our positives together, we're going to end up with positive 14. If we put our negatives together, we're going to end up with negative 8. So now the question is, do we have more positives or more negatives? Well, we've actually got more positives. And the question is then, how many more positives do we have? Well, we've actually got 6 more positives than we do negatives. By the way, positive 6, that's just 6. That works just fine right there. All right, so that gives you a little handle on that. Hopefully you got a good feel for it, able to do that problem. Go into your practice work, jump back into that, and do lots of similar exercise right in there so that you can practice and get a good feel for that. Check yourself with your calculator when you're done, but get a good handle on this even without the calculator. All right, I'll see you next time in Welch's Math class.